Alright there folks, welcome to another fishing adventures, and this one is a little bit different. There was a post on, I think it was Facebook I saw, someone high up in one of the manufacturing companies basically turned around and said, I think for fishing to be taken seriously as a sport, we need to introduce drug testing. And once I'd stopped laughing, about 3 days later, I really couldn't work out what it was on about, to be honest with you. Because drugs basically are there to increase your strength or increase your speed if you're an athlete or a rugby player or whatever. What would you take them for in fishing? Do you know what I mean? It just did not make sense at all. So I was howling with laughter, as I say, for about 2 or 3 days after I read that. And then just recently, there's been another bit of posts and stuff going around about the use of illegal landing nets, and that caused a ton of confusion with people saying, well, what's an illegal net? Am I using the right one? What's going on? And basically, an illegal landing net is one of the really old type ones that you used to get 20-25 years ago, with a really wide open mesh with big knots in it and stuff like that, so you can basically scoop the fish dead fast. You can still buy those nets, but they're more aimed at trout anglers that fish in fast flowing streams and rivers, so they can get the fish nice and quick without the drag of the net. It makes sense, doesn't it? But for a match angler, does it really make that much difference? I mean, I know we talk about saving a bit of time here and a bit of time there, but we're not driving Formula 1 cars, do you know what I mean? We're not looking to shave a tenth off in every corner. So scooping that fish a bit quicker, does it really make a difference? Over 5 hours, it might do. It might give you an extra minute's fishing. Could that be the difference? I don't know. But anyhow, there was a massive furore about it. And then I thought, well, if that is classed as cheating, what other ways are there to cheat in fishing? So I put a post on a couple of groups, and some of the comments have been absolutely hysterical. So I'm going to pop a few on screen now, and you can have a look, and I'll just talk you through them basically, because I've just laughed. It's been just hilarious. Some of the things that people do to actually cheat in fishing is beyond me, and it's like, if you're turning up to a match knowing that you're going to cheat, what are you doing there anyway? Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't. I mean, it's crazy. It really is crazy. But anyway, let's check a couple of these out. So yeah, a couple of people commented about this, and it's people slyly feeding the edges before the all-in. And I heard of one story where there was a guy, and he was cleaning out his ground bait bowl in the next peg, because it was a free peg and that's where he was going to fish. So he was cleaning out his ground bait bowl there, and obviously the particles that were in there, or the bit of ground bait that was in there, would pre-bait that swim. So I can kind of see where people get a bit knocked off with that. But that one fish in the first 5 minutes, is it going to make a difference? Again, do you know what I mean? It just seems a bit, not petty, because it's clearly cheating. And I think I'd have had a few words with him if I'd have caught him doing it. But again, it's just one of those things. Who does that? Who does that? What sort of mentality do you need to think, oh, I'm going to blatantly cheat by pre-feeding and pretend I'm washing out a ground bait bucket? It don't make sense to me. It just made me laugh. Let's have a look. Not witnessed myself personally, but I have heard stories of anglers dropping in a paving slab into the edges, down the margins, so they can present the bait better. What is all that about? What is all that about? How would you even do that? That's just crazy. I mean, what do you do? Just lump around a massive paving slab with you? I mean, that's desperate for a start, isn't it? Who does that? Who thinks of things like that? Insane. But that's just one example. Unbelievable. But yeah, and then a guy said, oh, I've definitely heard of this happening. Small paving / patio slab placed down the margin, give a dinner plate surface on the non-clay type edges. Bizarre. I don't know. Oh, there's another one. This is a controversial one, really, and do you know when in summer and the fish come up to the surface, it's people putting in a little bit of feed for them to get them coming within landing net range and just scooping them out of the water. I mean, what's that, 8 out of 10 for ingenious effort, but clearly cheating. Unless that hook's in its mouth, I don't think it counts, do you know what I mean? Or even up its bum. But foul-hooked fish, should they count as well? And how do you prove someone's caught a foul-hooked fish and put it in the nets, do you know what I mean? It's weird, it's just one of those really crazy ones. Ah, dearie me, that's genius. Let's have a look. In the 1980s, a well-known angler of the day was caught with eels inside pole sections. Now, I've heard of that one before, and that does make me chuckle because I absolutely hate eels with a passion for some reason. I don't know why, they just freak me right out. But yeah, I can imagine that would be dead easy to do, particularly back in the day when you fish the canals and anything would crop up, you can kind of get away with it, I guess. So, yeah. Interesting one. And I even heard of a story of a guy that used to put eels in his wellies. I mean, God knows why you would do that. That's just insane. But anyway, there we go. Oh, this one's quite a funny one. Once saw a very famous angler pay his fee, go into the draw bag, looked at his peg number, didn't like it, then went to the back of the line, pitted again and drew a better peg. Ah, dearie me. I wouldn't class that as cheating, really. I mean, it's a bit petty, do you know what I mean? But look at it from his point of view. If he's quite well known and is sponsored and stuff like that, and he needs to get results, not only for his own ego, but to promote the company's products, then he's going to do whatever he can to try and get those results, isn't he? So, I don't know, it's a tricky one, that. But if he paid twice, then why not? Do you know what I mean? It's I think we can kind of let him off with that one. But what would you do if you drew another bad peg? Would you just think, sod it, I'm off home, or what? I don't know. Mint. I don't know. Now, there's always a lot of controversy around weigh-ins, actually, and I've got two now that are quite funny related to weigh-ins, and one of them is a guy was walking around a lake, and during the weigh-in he noticed that there was a bit of mono attached at the bottom of the waistling, and when the two mates that were in cahoots to each other weighed the fish, one of them would step on the mono, pulling that net down a little bit, give him a bit of an advantage. Now that's blatant, isn't it? I mean, can you imagine it if you were on an open match with 20 or 30 people and there's a lot of money at stake and someone caught you doing that? I mean, I can't imagine you'd go home in one piece and dry, do you know what I mean? It's just, why do it? Do you know what I mean? It's pathetic. It really is crazy. Ah, dearie me. And the other one, with regards to the weigh-in, is another comment was a guy used to organise matches, open matches on a commercial lake. And he'd basically have the scales and stuff. He would, at the end of the match, he'd weigh his fish, write it down, tip them back before any witnesses turned up. And now that's suspicious in itself. But apparently this went on for weeks and weeks. And funnily enough, he won every single match. Now that begs the question, what sort of morals do you have to be able to do that week in, week out and basically just rob people? And secondly, if you know it's going on, why would you keep turning up to fish these matches anyway? It don't make sense, really, does it? It's just crazy. Ah, dearie me. This one's a funny one. Anglers throwing small balls of paste in the peg while standing back before the whistle and then fishing over it. But he got caught, basically, and banned, which is fair enough. But I get that's just a bit dumb. Why would you make it so obvious like that? Do you know what I mean? It don't make sense, that. And again, you got caught, so you got banned. Was it worth it? Probably not. Absolutely crazy. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is one I've heard before. I know someone who tied a piece of heavy line and a big hook to the end of his keep net. Then with two big lobworms on the hook, he caught many eels that way and once a jack pike. I'm guessing it's on a river or a canal. But my question with that is, if it's fastened to the bottom of your keep net, how do you get that out and unhook it to put it in the keep net for the weigh-in at the end? Or am I missing something? It must be on a river because you can't see anybody else. If it was a canal, everyone would be able to see it, wouldn't it? So, yeah, very sly. Why would you do that? Why not just fish at the end of your keep nets? Crazy. Right then, this was a good one. Plumbing up with the toss pot on full of bait and then obviously finding the depth you wanted and tipping that bait in. That's very cheeky, that is. And I mean, it's... I suppose if everyone else is concentrating and plumbing up, finding lines and stuff like that, you could get away with it, do you know what I mean? But far too risky. Why would you even do that, do you know what I mean? Just for the sake of, like, what? Having that bait in there 10-15 minutes before the all-in? I don't think it makes a difference, to be fair. This one's a cool one. There was an angler in the 70s who fished the Midland circuit and was well known for weighing in his pet Gudgeon. Brought to him mid-match by his brother-in-law. 12 ounces was often enough to win in the winter. So his brother-in-law's fishing further down, catches a Gudgeon and brings it up and drops it in his net. Very, very sneaky, that. That is funny. Dearie me. This one is an interesting one, and I've got to give them 10 out of 10 for ingenuity on this one, to be fair. And it's a couple of old boys is the phrase. I fish with once told me another mate knew some guys that used to soak the ends of their keep nets in bait attractors and then spend all match fishing at the end of the keep net. I mean, 10 out of 10 for ingenuity. And how could you prove they were doing it? Do you know what I mean? Because it's weird. Johnny Arthur always says at one point in his match he'll try fishing at the end of the keep nets because he knows the fish will be there, and they are. I've seen it a load of times, and it's crazy. But to actually soak your net in an attractant and then pop it in and spend all match fishing there, I mean, that's a genius way to do it, because I don't think you could prove that they'd done it, do you know what I mean? But if you did it all the time, it'd get a little bit suspicious, wouldn't it? But yeah, 10 out of 10 for effort, and I think 0 out of 10 for morals on that one. Oh my days, that's hilarious. So we've got a couple more. Right, here we go. So river match, a Winter League section and chublets appearing in keep nets where there's never been chublets seen on that stretch of river ever in the history of the river. So that's well dodgy for a start. And they were weighed in by the same team members, so they'd obviously gone somewhere, got a load of chublets and thought, oh, I'll take them to this match, no one will know. But it's yeah, very suspicious when there's never been chublets on that stretch of river before. And again, a team event, do you know what I mean? They're not above it, are they? Cheating. Crazy. You see, now this one, when I mentioned earlier about foul hooked fish, this comment here is because it wasn't exactly cheating, but a guy to the left of it had foul hooked a carp, basically. He eventually got it in and netted it, but he felt a bit guilty for doing that. So when he caught a carp properly, he actually put that one back in the lake. Now that opens up a bit of a moral dilemma, because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, if that fish is in the landing net, it's been caught fair and square. But it's a foul hooked fish caught fair and square. It's one of those little areas, and I suppose it's down to moral judgment. But if you think about it, if you hook a carp in its bum, it's not happy, it's angry, and it flies off. And if you can land it, then I think it should count double, to be fair, because they're not exactly easy to land, are the angry foul-hooked carp. But fair play to him for popping it back. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for morals and 10 out of 10 for effort, I suppose, on that one. I'm not going to name names either, but if you recognise what you've typed and you're watching this, then fair play to you. Oh man, and there we go, last one. I actually saw a top angler emptying a flask full of Gudgeon into his keep net during a Winter League match on the Leeds-Liverpool Canal in the early 80s. Oh my god, he blatantly denied it and carried on to win yet another one of many by a few ounces. Should have been watched much closer after another angler reported him. What can you do? Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if you've picked up on the subtle theme of all of that, but it's the top anglers that seem to blatantly cheat the most. Now, I'm not saying it happens now. Oh, it probably does, but on the open circuit, on the elite leagues and stuff like that, I can't see this happening because there's too many people watching. But yeah, back in the 70s, the 80s, they were all at it, weren't they? Look at that. Oh, absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I hope that's entertained you anyway, because it does crack me up, some of the stories. If you've got any others that you want to add, drop them in the comments below, because I'd love to have a read of them, and maybe we'll do a part 2 at a future date. But for now, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.